And hello, everyone. Welcome.
Oh, we had you for a second. There we go. Okay.
Trying to get. Okay, so my issue right now is I'm trying to get to the stream because I don't know what the title is, and that's the only one I can see. So let's try this again. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is No Shots Fired podcast, episode 56. Title, of course, is Hey, remember baseball? Wild stuff. If you don't
Not a lot
know
of people
what
remember
referencing, Joe DiMaggio had a 56 game hitting streak. Is that what we're doing?
You sure did.
Anyway, I'm Valen, here with Doc and Junkblade, here to talk to you about latest in gaming technology. As such, we're going to lead off with Don't Starve Together, a delightful little game that just came out, I think, yesterday. Then Pokemon, which is actually kind of current, right? This just
very
came out.
current, yes.
Then Code Vein, don't know what that is. A D&D update, but not the usual way.
Oh.
Gonna finally get you my Games of the Decade list. And lead into the end with your questions. Without further ado, this concludes the worst intro we've ever had.
We can't say that for sure. There's a lot of episodes.
Why don't you say a few words about Don't Starve Together, and I'll...
So Don't Starve Together, as you would guess by the title, is a cooperative game where the goal is to not starve together. I have only played it with people once so far, and because of the variety of characters and not really anything in the way of a tutorial on what exactly you're supposed to be doing, I did not do very well either time.
This is like a 2D isometric view kind of game.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
2D isometric with cartoonish Tim Burton-esque characters.
Okay, so if I recall, this was originally not a multiplayer game, because I think I got it on the it was like part of the PS4 monthly games a while ago. I played maybe 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, there is just the single player version.
Okay, I do like it was called Don't Starve. I do like the idea of adding multiplayer and just saying Don't Starve Together. I do appreciate the cleverness of that naming convention. So.
As do I. So all of the characters have their own little traits that you have to play around with. Like, one of them will be exceptionally afraid of the dark. Another of them will be exceptionally good at cutting down trees for wood. One or two of them, I think, based on the playthrough Valen was doing with some people earlier, are just there to make the game even more difficult.
Is this limited to you can only have like one of each type in a game, or is it you can?
No, you can have as many of the same types.
Okay.
But of course, we've tried to avoid doing that just for the sake of uniqueness and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically a survival scenario in a quirky, cartoonish Tim Burton world. Where you encounter a bunch of little fun obstacles as you explore the world. Randy. Yes, Doc.
Is there any carryover from like playthroughs or like a Rogue Legacy kind of thing? Is there any like stat accumulation or any of that sort of stuff?
No.
Okay. Some more a Spelunky thing, just where you kind of get a little better at the systems and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Exactly.
Understanding what's going to happen. So, for instance, the discovery that there are seasons in the world, and you better be prepared for winter. What kind of enemies you can and can't attack, and how you can interact with them.
Winter always approaching, right, guys? Remember that
always
meme?
Approaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it, right? Winter is always
I think
approaching.
so. Maybe encroaching. I can't. We'll have to check that. But
hello, Winter. You are always coming closer to me from something. What a show, right? I really liked it.
Yeah.
What was that called? It was.
I watched at least 7 episodes of it. So I got pretty
Throne
in.
of Games, I believe it was
I think
called.
that's right.
And it was like something.
Game of Brooms. I'm trying to think of a good, funny Thrones.
Well, we gotta replace game also.
Oh.
So it's gotta be
Flame of.
No, you don't have to. Not with rhyming. What's a
Brooms.
synonym for game?
Oh.
See, I
Playful
wanted to go
diversion of chairs.
Of chairs. Yeah, perfect. That's a much better.
Playful diversion of seating apparatuses designed for singular occupancy of
Monarchical.
of people supposedly ordained by a divine entity to preside over a collective of. Is anyone gonna stop me?
No, we are not. I was about to chime in with, I think you've lost the plot, but...
But it was a complicated show. There's a lot of characters.
It was a complicated show, which is
and it took 30 minutes to get through that title sequence, so, you know.
What was interesting, I liked how by the end of the series they expanded the title sequence until the title sequence was 59 minutes of the whole show.
Oh.
And you just got 1 minute of plot.
I think we're going to see that spread to other shows. I think that's a...
Valen, I think saying there was 1 minute of plot involved in the last season is being generous.
Exactly.
Ha! Fucking dunked on.
You know what I liked about
I
that
haven't
title
actually seen the last season.
Don't play, that doesn't matter.
Everything. I don't care. Like, there's no reason for me to.
We don't have time to consume all the media out there, you know.
No,
exactly. I don't.
But we do have time to have opinions on all of it.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked how the title sequence. So the show, it's called Game of Thrones. The title sequence, it makes it look, the world look like it's kind of like gamey. It's kind of mechanical.
Yeah, a little
like,
clockwork.
It's like a game.
I did like the music of that thing.
Good music.
Good music.
And I do actually like the opening title. The sequence.
Have you guys seen the music done on like old hard drives?
No.
What's that?
Hang on.
No.
Okay. Real quick diversion here. Game of Thrones theme. Hard drive. Okay, yeah, the Flapatron. Oh, I'm gonna go with the one on
This is Udemy.
2 million views here. We get through this ad. I guess I could just do.
Wait, okay, what's the Flapatron? Could you use your words to describe it, or is that going to ruin the... Oh, no links in chat.
It's about to start.
The officially licensed browser game, so that's...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is really cool.
Right?
Alright, for the fans at home, we're now listening to the Game of Thrones theme.
I'm actually playing it on the stream, so we'll see if we get taken down. Okay. So that's what that is.
Really cool.
Right? So now that I guess we're done from showing videos that are 7 years old, I guess we can move on. Valen, your push to talk is off again. Yeah, exactly.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon time.
But not Pokemon Go, isn't that was a thing?
That was the phone game, yes. Still going.
Okay, but not the Pokemon and then
the hot new Go. Pokemon. Pokemon
What's it called?
Sword and or Shield.
Which one do you get? Sword
I'm
or Shield?
playing Sword because it's got a blue dog with a sword in its mouth, which that's the one you go with. And I've put about 25 to 30 hours into it, probably. So I've been playing a fair amount in the last week. And I like it a lot. Like it a lot. So, this is the first kind of, I guess, the Switch is console/handheld. But this is the first kind of console Pokemon experience in terms of the RPGs.
What's new? What's diff?
So, I mean, it's a Pokemon game, right? So, like, there are things that are different, but they're not. If I'm buying a Pokemon game, I want to play Pokemon. So,
yeah,
you throw the balls at the. I will say that catching them is no longer as trivial as it used to be. It's harder. They don't want to stay in the balls. They don't want to stay in the balls, Junkblade. And then
you need to have some sort of bait or a lure.
Well, you get their HP down, and you can try to paralyze them or put them to sleep.
That seems incredibly harsh to paralyze them.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're forcing them into those balls, right? Get in there. You're mine now.
For the rest of their lives.
Well, you give them a paralyzed heal once they agree to do your bidding, but.
Oh, so medical science is more advanced.
Oh yeah, it's a spray bottle. It costs like $2. And there's lots of different kinds of Pokeballs. So some work better in caves, some work better in water, some work better for Pokemon that evolve with a Moonstone.
It sounds to me like Big Pokemon Ball is differentiating. They used to have their Pokeball would catch anything anywhere, right? Sounds to me like pointless differentiation to sell more Pokemon.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Ultra Balls in the Galar region are a fucking scam. Those things never work, ever. I throw an Ultra Ball out there, it doesn't even shake once. It breaks out of there immediately. I gotta find a better supplier. Or something, because it's ridiculous.
I'd like everybody to go and read my blog post about Big Pokeball. It really unravels the whole conspiracy behind.
I mean, it's just one factory, and you go there every time. So, and you know what? They can make it so that it catches it every time. They can make that. They've made one. I've seen it. So,
do you only get one master? Is it the Master Ball still?
Yes.
I was going to say,
how do you get the Master Ball?
Mass-produce the Master Ball.
Yeah, but why not, Junkblade? Huh? Think about it.
They have the technology.
Technology's right there, hanging out. They give it to a 10-year-old kid every time.
No, wait. What is the story behind giving the Master Ball to?
Well, you basically save existence every time, so I guess it's the least they can do.
Save existence? I thought it was just Team Rocket.
I'll tell you what, Val. The plots have gotten a little more. No, we're saving the world from reality-bending Pokemon here.
In the first one, wasn't it just like Team Rocket?
Oh yeah. Well, I think they still wanted to do stuff that wasn't great, but
the villains have varied in terms of how serious they are and what their long-term goals are.
Like the one in X and Y wanted to remake existence because he was like, we're blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Look at my hair. It was stirring stuff. So I guess the major thing in this game is the wild area, which is a 3D environment that has dynamic weather and Pokemon. And I guess from the core series, there are still random encounters, but there's also Pokemon in the world running around that you can run into on purpose. So you can kind of, it's actually a really nice kind of blend of those two between Let's Go and the regular games that I'm really glad they did. But in the wild area, you have to be careful because the ones walking around may be able to kick your ass. And you get you first get to the wild area, you're level 10, 12, and I see an Onix rolling around. I'm like, I'm gonna get that Onix. I'm gonna add it to my team. We're gonna have a Rock Snake. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be buddies. So I start the encounter, and it goes, "This is a very powerful Onix. Are you sure?" Well, it just says it doesn't like it just says you encountered a very powerful Onyx, and it's level 30, and you're like, oh, okay. And then even if you the basic thing is to kind of introduce some danger, because that Onyx fucking destroyed me, and you cannot catch those Pokemon at this point. Like, you can battle them to get, like, you can battle them to really kind of give yourself a challenge, or to really, like, up your, give you a lot of experience. But, like, if you get them down and try to throw a Pokeball, it's just like, no. This Pokemon's not going to let you do that. So it just, it doesn't let you waste your balls, which is good. But, that is
good.
But, it's this huge area that goes, like, yeah, I was very impressed with how big it is. And there's these spots called, Dynamax dens. So the conceit in this game, so like they've had Mega Evolutions and Z moves and like these things that like power up the Pokemon. Now they have Dynamaxing, where you bring the Pokemon back into your Pokeball, it gets huge, and you throw it behind you, and then a huge version of your Pokemon pops out. And it lasts for a couple turns, and you just get to do these world-destroying moves, which is very satisfying. And you can battle some those Pokemon with 3 other people. So you'll go to a spot that it says, a raid's about to start. You can go, all right, fine, and it'll search for people. I haven't been patient enough to wait for people to join. I know that people have done that, but it also will put you with like 3 AI people. Which is fun, which is good, so you can kind of do it yourself. And then you can, once you get them down enough, you get a chance to catch them, and they might have special abilities or special moves, that kind of stuff. So and that's all kind of in the wild area as well. But it's a cool thing, and there's items all around, and yeah, it's a cool place to explore. I will say that when you connect to the internet, like, other players will start popping up. Not that they're like dynamically running in the, like if you were running in the wild, I don't think I'd see your one-to-one movement. It's not like a Destiny public area, but you can go talk to them and they'll give you, you'll give you items and stuff. But that does kind of chug the game a bit. So I haven't done that a ton. Hopefully they can.
When you say chug the game,
like the frame rate kind of just goes, whoa, what are you doing? So hopefully they can smooth that out a bit, but it doesn't, I haven't had it crash out on me or any of that kind of stuff, so it's not rendering it unplayable. It's just not, plus I kind of like wandering through it kind of more alone, and like you'll see trainers in there that you can battle and stuff. It's a really cool kind of progression of the Pokemon system. And then a cool thing that it's just a very small thing, but it's something I kind of like, is that each version have a few gyms that are different, which is kind of cool. It's like if you get this version, you do like a rock gym and a fairy gym, I think, and then the other one's like a ghost gym and an ice gym or something like. And then they in the world they say, it's like the English relegation system. So like if a gym leader starts doing bad enough, they get
idea.
Yeah, they get demoted to the low, which is a cool. Which kind of maybe wish that you the story would have been you kind of going through the lower gyms and then getting to the Premier League, but
makes sense.
But it's a cool the kind of nods, because it's the region's based on the United Kingdom. The kind of nods to that are pretty neat. I do enjoy the Scottish, like sheep and all that, The new Pokemon, I've really actually enjoyed the new Pokemon quite a bit, except for the fossil ones. I don't know if you guys have seen the fossil Pokemon. But apparently they're a reference to the fact that British archaeologists used to just kind of cobble together skeletons willy-nilly and just kind of create.
Oh, like the fake mermaid?
Yes. So unfortunately, they've decided you get halves of fossils. And you put them together, and they produce the most ungodly-looking creatures that look like they just want to be
horrifying.
Put out of their misery so badly.
Oh dear.
Kill me.
Yeah, it's like I am not exact. Here, I gotta show you this. It's the worst. Okay. Here's one. Oh wait, does this just have all of them? I just want. I guess I'll just send you the Google image search I did. But like, yeah, so you get like a dragon half, a bird half, and a fish half, which can then be combined into
This
just
is awful.
yeah. And it's and the person who does it, they make the Pokemon and they're like, ah, yes, this Pokemon clearly existed way back in the day. And you open the Pokemon, you're like, what on earth are you talking about? This is.
The only problem with push to talk is you can't hear my natural laughter
Yeah.
flowing
But-
out.
Yeah.
It's just. So I've made 2 of these. I haven't been able to. I haven't gotten myself to take them out of the PC yet because they're just horrifying.
They really are.
Yeah, but there are some very good ones. We don't need to get into. I've got this awesome steel bird that's like 7 feet tall and a badass. So
Skarmory?
no, better than that. Skarmory's a buster now compared to Corviknight. So yeah, really, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I will say, yeah, the starters, not great. Their final evolutions in particular, I don't know what they're doing, but I did not enjoy them as much. But
And that's completely fair.
I will continue to play it. Continue to.
And for the fans at home, what's the gold Pokemon count right now?
What's the what Pokemon count?
Shiny Pokemon?
Oh, the
Gold
shiny.
Pokemon?
Oh, I have 2 shiny Pokemon currently. I have a apple dragon called Flapple, which is just really good. Some of the names they gave me. I didn't. They evolved, and I was like, well, I can't improve on that. That's as good as it gets.
Oh, they come with randomly generated names now?
No, that's the name of the Pokemon. So like Applin, it's this little. I caught it. It's like this apple. It's like literally an apple. And like the Pokedex entry comes up and it's like dragon type. I was like, excuse me? This is an apple. And then it evolved into like this dragon apple that's flying. It's really good. And then my other one,
really reaching for new Pokemon.
I know, but you know what? I love it. I will do everything for this flying apple dragon.
Because he's shiny. That's why you care about him.
That and he's named Flapple. So.
I
and then
shared the picture of Flapple.
Okay. Yeah.
That's definitely an apple that has come undone. It turns out there was a dragon growing inside. I've bought apples like that before. It's really gross.
Yeah. But mine's green and it sparkles. And then the other one is a Nickit, which is a fox, a dark fox, which I named Marl Fox for all you Redwall fans out there.
I thought you were doing British golfers.
I was, but I kind of, so I ran out of them, and this fox didn't strike me as anyone in particular. They have to kind of fit. That's what I'm saying. So.
I mean, it's a fox called Nickit, and it evolves into a thing called Thievul.
I don't know I don't like that evolve one. Freaks me out. Also, yeah, if you guys. Oh.
The picture's not loading right now, but just based on the name, I would have almost wanted to call it like Swiper, just because of the fox that steals things from Dora the Explorer.
Yes, that would have fit.
It'd be like, it's the name that immediately comes to mind, given the name.
Yes, but I, being a literate gentleman, delved into the works of Brian Jakes. They went for it on some of these. Like, there's a different Meowth now, and I don't like it. It
Hold up, new Meowth?
Oh yeah.
Why?
So in the previous generation, they introduced like regional variations, which I think is actually a pretty cool idea to kind of. So like basically, yeah, they changed like typings and stuff, and of like some of the original Pokemon. Like they're saying, oh, the Sandshrews here actually went up into the mountains and became ice types and stuff, as opposed to the ground type ones.
Sure. Okay.
So it's kind of a. I kind of like it as an idea of like people obviously love the original 151, but it's kind of giving them a new spin on those. But they did that to Meowth here, and it's terrifying.
But they don't have like normal Meowths anymore.
You can get one through a trade from someone from the Kanto region, yeah. So like I think yeah. So I got one from that. So they'll typically have like someone who will like trade you one of the regional forms for the original form in a Pokemon Center somewhere or something like that. But yeah, so good. I just caught a Luchador Octopus called like Grapple-Locked, which is really good.
Shadora Octopus.
Oh yeah, he's great. And I caught this fighting type called Phalanx, which is like these 5 ball guys that line up in a phalanx. Like
That's cute.
So is it 5 Pokemon or is it 1 Pokemon?
It's an execute kind of thing. So we don't need
or,
to.
like a Dugtrio kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't have to question it too much.
That confuses me though. No, I need definitive answers on.
It's a hive mind. There, I solved it.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
But they march in place. It's real. Yeah, they're very good.
It starts as 5, or is it like a Dugtrio where it's 1?
No, yeah, there is no evolution as far as I know.
2.
So they kind of like what's the Wigglers from Mario? They're kind of marching in the world like on a set path, and you can you run into them. That's how you encounter them. And the gym battles are in like huge soccer stadiums now with like crowds and stuff, which is cool. So
as they should be.
As they should be.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's basically the national sport.
Yeah, and I got this steel elephant called Kaparaja, which is also a very good. They got some good names on these guys, and he's just a fucking wrecking machine.
Always good to hear.
Oh yeah, so good. I could keep talking about it, but I won't because we have other stuff to get to.
Indeed, we do.
Yes, but you guys should play.
You
should play Shield and trade the Pokemon with me.
So before the summary of Code Vein, I just want to mention, with a little bit of extra spending money, I got myself some Mega Man and Rush sleeves for Magic the Gathering.
Oh. You really set me on a mental journey with sleeves there. What could he possibly mean?
I like putting my decks in different sleeves so that I know immediately which one is which when I want to grab a specific one.
Mega Man, an excellent choice.
Yes. There's a different set of Mega Man sleeves that I have another deck in.
Man.
Yeah. Sadly, there are only 2 sets of Mega Man sleeves available at the moment, but hopefully they put other characters on there in the future.
Come on, Capcom. Get on it.
So, on to Code Vein. So, the easiest way to describe this game by far is anime Dark Souls. And what that means is it very much has the mechanics of Dark Souls. It has instead of accumulating souls, you accumulate this stuff called haze that works in the exact same way. If you die twice without getting the haze back, you lose it forever. The upgrading item system works exactly the same as it does in Dark Souls. It's pretty much using Dark Souls as a base and then telling its own story.
A popular game type these days, for sure.
Yeah, I am enjoying my playthrough quite a bit. It is kinder than Dark Souls is for a couple of reasons. you can play offline, so you won't be randomly invaded by other players
Okay.
who just want to kill you. It gives you a partner by default who can bring you back once or twice, even if you get killed, but it happens at the cost of their own health, and if they get knocked out, obviously they can't help you. The other thing is sometimes even if they have full health and have enough health to cast the uh, bring you back ability, due to the weird way the AI works, sometimes it just won't do that. Other aspects in which it's like.
Would you expound upon that more when you say it just won't do that? Is it like a glitch, or?
I am not sure. It's. I think it's almost like they're too far away for the AI to detect that you've died and bring you back in time. There must be like a timer where if
okay, a countdown kind of thing.
you don't, yeah, a countdown kind of thing where if they don't bring you back within so many seconds, say like 5, it just counts you as dead, regardless of whether they could or not.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of characters in the screenshots. Is there like this? Are these like story characters, or is this just like different characters you could play as? Kind of thing?
These are story characters. You can completely customize your own character.
Okay, but like do these people like come along on your adventure for time to time, or are you just?
There'll be like merchants who will only be at the main area. There'll be a few people who can come along on your adventure, and you gain more followers as the game goes on, but you can only use one at any time.
Okay, what about the hot one?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Do I have to be more specific?
You're gonna have to be more specific because that is a consequence of it being anime Dark Souls. Is the creators obviously wanted to make everybody their own variety of hot.
Okay. The hot lady with the silver hair?
Does she have a weird cloak thing on?
Probably.
Then wait, is she wearing a cloak or one of those fuzzy Russian hats, Cossack hat?
Just the cloak.
Okay, that is Io or Io, who does not join you on your journey. But as you acquire the upgrade thing in this game, which is called blood codes, which unlock different classes for you to play as, and you can switch between them at any time. Like you can do the fighter, the ranger, the mage, and then there are extra ones you will discover as time goes on, like the assassin or the Prometheus.
That's cool. That's cool. You can switch between them whenever.
You can switch between them whenever, and as far as I can tell, your level ups transfer over. So if you level up 5 times in Prometheus, it'll treat it as if you leveled 5 times in Ranger as well when you switch over to Ranger. The only thing is that you have to specifically train up the skills of that class in that class. But once you hit a certain point with those skills, you can use them in any class. For example, the Prometheus class that I mentioned, which is kind of a glass cannon type who can do a bit of combat and magic, has a passive skill called One-Handed Sword Mastery that boosts the effectiveness of one-handed swords. If you get that leveled all the way up, you can use that on any of the classes. Of course, doing that takes a while, and I haven't actually figured out what the exact requirements are. All it says is defeat the enemy, but I've gone to areas where I've done that a lot with kind of the weaker enemies, and there's been no progress at all. So under if there's a specific like challenge level of enemy that it's referring to, that it doesn't actually tell you what it is. And of course, that gets more dangerous as the game goes on because the enemies get harder and harder, both because of more health and damage, and just you aren't used to the new enemies, so you haven't figured out their patterns yet.
Okay.
One thing this game does, and I so wish Dark Souls would have done, but I understand why they didn't to a degree, is this game has a map, which has been so helpful in so many areas. Whereas in Dark Souls, I don't know how many times I got lost in like the woods of crucifixion. Which, yeah.
Boy, what a fucking metal name, huh?
Yeah, Dark Souls
fucking
just decides to go there.
Going for it.
That's my favorite hardcore band, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in Code Vein, you and the majority of your companions are these things called revenants, which is basically you guys are basically vampires, and
of course,
you're all searching for these weird trees that give blood fruit that you can feed off of without having to actually feed off of the few surviving humans that still exist. And
so they're vegan vampires?
Yeah, vegan vampires. Yeah.
Hot vegan, and that guy, God, they did it.
Why wouldn't you just eat the humans?
Because there are so few left, and
they suddenly got a conscience, or like what?
They don't want to run out of blood, because if they do, then you turn into the enemies you fight in this game, these things called the Lost, which are just utterly mad and can never die no matter how many times you kill them.
Why are you trying to kill them then?
Basically because they will attack you relentlessly.
But have you ever stopped to ask, hey, what's up?
We've tried. It doesn't work.
Okay. Well, at least you tried.
But couldn't you just eat the blood fruit once you've eaten all the humans? Like, you've got this. It's not an ethical thing. Like, why stop eating? You got blood fruit, right? Why stop eating?
Because there's a very low supply of it, and we are trying. And your question.
Then won't you run out of blood fruit? Like, isn't it kind of a like you're gonna run out of one or the other eventually, right?
Theoretically, which is why your goal in the game is to find more of these trees, bring them back to life.
The blood growth.
Kind of wilted, and find the source so that you can have enough to feed people.
So here's a question I think this raises.
Sure.
Is it possible to make a game in the style of Dark Souls that's not attempting to fulfill some sort of weird requirement to be like an Iron Maiden concept album or something? Do we think? So. What is it about the mechanics of this game that like we have to make the most metal fucking shit possible? You guys remember yeah, fucking just do that. Metal opera time. Here we go. I don't know.
That seems fair. That seems like a fair criticism.
I mean, maybe not. They're selling well, and you know.
Well, no, I still don't think there's anything inherently wrong with saying, hey, everybody's doing it the same sort of way. What if is there a way to do this well and different?
I mean, you know, Dark Souls, but hot anime girls is different. It is increasing my interest slightly. I'll be honest. I'm not above admitting that.
Are the mechanics how you control the character that materially different, or is it still like a 3D sortie fighty?
It's basically the same as Dark Souls. It's still a 3D sortie fighty, real time combat. Figure out what your opponent's patterns are.
Have they done anything differently other than the most important thing, which we've already discussed?
In terms of the actual mechanics of the game, like I said, they do have a map. They've got the constant follower, and you don't have to be online all the time, so you can't be invaded like in Dark Souls. However, in general, it very blatantly uses Dark Souls as a base. It hasn't done very much different. But I
don't get the concept of invaded. Like, what happens with the invaded?
Well, it's supposed to be to like help people, right? Like people can get like help with bosses and stuff. Like you can team up.
Yeah, that's the benefit of being online
in a world where no one's ever interacted with anybody online ever.
But there's literally a mechanic in Dark Souls to just.
But you can just fucking waste the. You go in there, you go, Pwah! And then you leave. I think.
What's the purpose of the developers including this in the game, since it had to be intentional? Otherwise, you could just turn off,
I think
player to player.
I think there was a benefit you got from killing the other player. I think it would give you an item for one of the guilds you could be part of in Dark Souls, and it would increase your ranking in the guild.
The Dick
Guild.
It's
something.
Yeah, so it sounds like the developers.
I've seen you been a real dick lately. Well done.
Yeah, I think the developers of Dark Souls wanted people to just grief other people in Dark Souls, but that is one of the things that I didn't really care for in Dark Souls, so I'm glad
I can't imagine why.
Hey,
Junkplay, get good, right? Am I right?
It was sometimes satisfying just murdering an invader in Dark Souls.
L2P nub, LOL.
Sorry, what was your question, Alan?
I don't have one. Just lie. Usually just lie.
I mean, if it, I think there have been ones that have tried to do this that do not play well. So if they've been able to make one that actually play, putting a different skin on something, that's gonna I think we've talked about Cadence of Hyrule being just the same as Crypt of the Neck, but I'm gonna play it because it's Zelda. But, So if being able to recreate that feel successfully is something.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm just asking the tough questions, seeing if they've explored new realms.
They also just have fewer ways for you to randomly fall off ledges and things. I think that's happened twice to me in the entire time I've been playing, and it's because one of these obnoxious enemies with giant hammers slammed me off the side of an edge instead of Dark Souls, where you could literally just fall off while trying to walk along this area. Man, I even still remember a really awful bit in Dark Souls 3 where I was playing through with my friend, and they were summoning me into their game. And my strategy was, okay, to make this go as quickly as possible, because this area was designed terribly, you are just going to keep summoning me over and over again, and I'm just going to act as a meat shield to take down all of these guys on this area where it's just giant tree branches, and they all fire bows at you that will knock you off the branches. I do really like Dark Souls type games, but there's sometimes in Dark Souls proper where it really just felt like the developers were griefing you because they could.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right, I'm watching a trailer here. I see a brooding anime boy with a scar, so that's good. Um, I don't have the sound on. Okay, there's that one. Okay, some big swords. That's a check.
There's definitely some big weapons.
A world closed off. They're holding a blood thingy. Oh, he's got that's a tight vest. That's a good vest right there. I don't know if it very defensive, but
All right, I've got two final things to mention before we move on.
okay.
One thing I like about the obtaining blood codes and getting like the classes from them is each of the blood codes is related to a specific character who may be on your team or may have died in the intervening time. But they each give you a little bit. They each give you like memories of the person. Doing a little flashback to explain like who they are and where they came from. It's not an overly long thing, and this is a game that realizes, hey, cutscenes you can skip are really important. So if those end up annoying you for any reason, you can just hit the space button twice to skip them.
But then, how will you know what's happening? What are the motivations of all these anime men and women?
I'm not saying that's what I've been doing. I'm just saying you could do that if you decided you didn't care.
Oh, okay. Hey,
what are the purpose of them? Why do the memories? You're collecting memories, but are these from the people who've gone insane, or are these whose memories are?
These are memories of some of your allies, some people who have died, and potentially a few people who have gone insane. And in the case of your allies, getting the blood. Part of becoming a revenant is losing some of your memories. So getting the blood codes back gives them back their memories as well. And I think from what little I read, this contributes to like your completion percentage for the purposes of what ending you get in the game. So like this is one of those games where you could speed run it through to the very end super quickly, but you would get the worst ending sort of thing.
Got it. What?
Because you haven't restored enough blood memories.
I'm not pretending that this game is down to earth in any sense.
I'm just trying to follow.
It's a bit weird.
2019, the year of excessive bodily fluids, seems to be the theme that we've, particularly towards the end of the year. What is that? Hang on. What on earth are you supposed to be?
I just want enough blood codes to hack the blood mainframe.
See, now she doesn't have any. There's no armor there. She can't. I mean, okay, she's got wings and like a dragon tail.
The butterfly of delirium.
Of course.
The second boss in the game.
Wow. Okay. Is eye color an important thing in this? I've seen a lot of eye color changes in the videos I'm seeing.
It indicates like a slight little berserker mode you're going into, and it also indicates like your character doing a finishing move, which you do by getting behind an enemy and hitting them while they're vulnerable.
Is her tail a giant dragon?
Are all of the bosses?
Yes, it is.
Are all of the bosses women?
No, they are not.
Okay. Are most of them?
Out of the 4 that I've fought, 2 have been women.
Okay.
The invading executioner is just as badly designed as the butterfly of delirium.
Well, I didn't say bad.
It's
pretty bad.
The insatiable despot, on the other hand, is very clearly not meant to be sexy.
Now, Junkblade, we don't have to, judge everyone's preferences.
I suppose that's fair. I just mean it's not overt.
Not a traditional.
Not like with the invading executioner.
My tastes are what you might call unconventional.
Oh yeah, insatiable despot. Give me those digits, baby. Hit me up on what dating platform do you think the insatiable despot uses
MySpace.
I think he's a MySpace dating. Does MySpace even exist?
It
Yes,
does.
it
It
is.
does in this hell anime world. Yes.
It is mostly a music platform at this point. Also, clearly, the Insatiable Despot uses just for farmers.
How many blood codes are we gonna need to restore the memories of everything that was lost from MySpace and that big data crash?
So,
You guys know about that? You guys
say-
hear about that? They lost everything like some year.
Okay. No, I didn't hear about it. I'm going to go with 6. I bet those blood droplets hold a lot of stuff. Right? Okay.
Indeed.
Okay.
We are swiftly running short on time. We need that D&D update.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I really had to say about it. On to the D&D update.
So liking it, and then you'll let us know more next time. Or next time you
Indeed,
play
I
more.
will. I think there was another thing I meant to say that I've forgotten about, but I will remember by next.
Little tease, little nugget for next time. Little. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons. Apparently, for the first time in I don't know how long, Junkblade has failed us and not played Dungeons and Dragons in the intervening time sufficient to give us an update. But I have come to the rescue by not playing Dungeons and Dragons myself, but attending a live performance of something approximating Dungeons and Dragons. I'm, of course, speaking about the Adventure Zone, the McElroy's seminal work. It's a podcast. You all should listen to it. It's very good. And they've been doing live shows for a while now, which are one-off adventures. This was one using a game system called Lasers and Feelings. But it was Christmas themed, so they called it Naughty and Nice, which was quite good.
Mm-hmm.
And the conceit was that the 3 adventurers were on their way to the North Pole to kick Santa's ass. They all had their own reasons for undertaking this quest.
I was about to ask why, but apparently they all.
They get into that, and I guess story-wise, it follows a fairly rote path where Jeff Gordon ends up as Santa Claus at the end of the adventure, and I didn't have to tell you. I didn't have to tell you guys that. I mean, that's obvious. But so
I'm surprised any of them know who Jeff Gordon is.
I don't know if they did, and I really hope they release the live episode soon so you guys can listen to how they got to Jeff Gordon. But it was absolutely not something they had planned ahead of time. But Justin played the character of a 7-year-old child who was on his way to kick Santa's ass so he could become Santa. And was also a hacker, specializing in hacking Bitcoin. And then their dad Clint played a scientist who was a long descendant of Ebenezer Scrooge, which was quite good. And Travis was it's like a Australian or South African tough guy. The accent kind of wavered from time to time, but it was a lot of fun. If you ever have a chance to go see them live, and they do a fair number of live shows during the year, whether it's this or their advice show, My Brother and My Brother, I really can't recommend it enough. It's a blast. And Clint had a joke that got a standing ovation. So hopefully,
wow.
It was.
I'm gonna have to look at this episode.
That's pretty awesome.
A mistletoe joke that was so good.
Could you just say it here?
I can't. I can't.
Awesome.
You gotta. It has to. The flow of it was the flow. It was the timing. Comedy's timing. It's all about timing, and it was such that the entire thing stopped, and the crowd rose to its feet in appreciation of the joke. So very good. To keep a lookout on for that. I assume since it was Christmas themed, it will probably be during the Christmas period when they throw that out there. But they also just started their new campaign called Graduation, which I don't know if you guys have kept up with that or started that. But the
I haven't started yet. Have you started it?
yes, enjoying it a lot so far. Travis is actually DMing this time, which is interesting. But they're back to Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm excited about, and the world is basically they're at a school for both like heroes and villains, and also but they're in the annex, which is for sidekicks and henchmen.
Okay, that's
so yeah, it's a very good setup. So I'm very excited. I think they're only like 3 episodes in, so a good jumping in point for anyone curious about that. But that's my update.
And I think we have just enough time to do one more of my top 10 games
trickling it in
of the decade. Yes. And let's see. So Doc was able to guess last time. XCOM and XCOM 2 are 1 and 2. They're not actually ranked in terms of favorite. It's just 10. But can you guess another of the ones on the list? And that's kind of how. I mean, I'm sure you can.
Darkest Dungeon?
Well, I've got one bullet point at the end, and it says The Witcher ? Dishonored ? Darkest Dungeon ? So I'm not gonna allow that because those were all kind of I couldn't.
Dishonored was gonna be one I was gonna guess. Yeah.
Well, you both have 66% of one bullet point then.
Okay, what's another one?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I mean,
guys,
if Rocket League's not on there, you're lying.
Rocket League's on it.
Okay.
Rocket League.
Okay.
There we go. And that where we're going to conclude, and then next week you'll get the remaining 7 if we have enough time. However, I think that is where we wrap up this episode. If you got questions, sorry we didn't get to them, email us. We'll do them at the top of the next episode, 57.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. It's been No Shots Fired episode podcast 56. Titled, of course, Hey, Remember Baseball Wild Stuff. If you get the reference, hit us with the email and we'll send you a free gift.
We need to be more obscure about our episode titles. We're a little too obvious, I think. A little too on the nose.
I know, I like that. I think every true, baseball fan is going to
True. That's true.
And its history. Oh, no, I gave it away right
now. Oh, crap.
For Doc and Junkblade, I'm Val, and thanks for stopping by. We will see
you only 6 days till catchers and pitchers report, right, guys?
I can't believe it's still a sport, quite honestly. But
all right.
162 games. You kidding me? Talk to you all later. Bye.
All right, bye.